Back here, first things first, with some highlights presented by Hilton. Get a price match guarantee when you book at Hilton.com. NBA Finals Game 3. Steph behind the back, not once, twice before drilling the transition three here.
That's what they call a shooter's bounce, Jenna. The ball bounces so soft because the rotation, the backspin on it, a lot like Kawhi did Game 7 against Philadelphia. Off the front of the rim, feathery touch.
Soft rims at Oracle, too.
Quinn Cook thought he had an easy bucket. Danny Green says, nah, swats the shot off the glass.
This was part of a back-to-back sequence of the Warriors thinking they had fast break layups. Danny Green gets one, Serge gets one. Serge was spectacular defensively in this game.
That was a championship effort. The intensity for which they're playing at. Danny Green's not athletic, not giving up on the play, and as you mentioned, Serge Ibaka was nice a couple times.
Kawhi splits the D, dishes it to Fred VanVleet for the dagger three.
The game ender right there. The game-ending shot. That moment forward, take the starters out, let them rest. Good night.
VanVleet is the answer, though. If you are a shooter, knocked down, and you are struggling with your shot,
have a baby.
Have a baby, but he need to be a boy and name him Freddie Jr.
Okay, have a baby boy, name him after yourself. That's Chris Carter's advice.
Finally, Korean baseball. They say use your head. It paid off.
Yeah.
The ball bounces
I ain't
off
the
his
daddy
head
of that there, knucklehead.
That's
literally.
Listen, I think that shouldn't be an out. That's like it hitting the ground. The hitting the player in the head and bouncing another guy shouldn't be an out. Just like if it hits the ground and bounces to another guy, it's not an out.
Let me tell you something. Y'all need to check on that baseball. That dude got a head on him. That baseball ran into a collision.
He bounced up. He was facing the wrong way the next play.
That shouldn't be an out.
That baseball found the right head out there.
Warriors were without Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant, and that meant Steph Curry was forced to essentially be the team's entire offense. Steph did about all you could have asked, 47 points in the loss, the second most in the losing effort in finals history, behind LeBron's 51 in Game 1 last year. See how impressive was Steph last night?
It was amazing. It was, because getting ready for the game, Nick and I tried to give the fans a view of what was going to happen without Klay, not knowing 100% he wasn't going to play, but if he's not on the court, what would the Warriors look like? Well, this is what any team that had Steph Curry. So for me, last night was for all the doubters and all the haters that say, oh, it's the system. Oh, it's Klay. Oh, it's Draymond. Oh, it's KD. We knew it wasn't KD because what we saw from Steph with the 2 MVP seasons and the run that he was on before KD got there. But he's sensational. People say that he's the best shooter ever. Well, let me tell you, Jenna, he's the best shooter off the dribble. He's the best shooter off the standstill. He's the best shooter off a baseline pick. You want to run a pick and roll? He's the best shooter for that. You want to run a pin down, put him on the box, send someone down the screen for him? He's the best shooter in all those situations. He is an amazing basketball player. And one thing I know that Nick, he gets criticized an awful lot about, but we didn't get to see a lot of this because they got so many guys on one team. When KD goes out, we see Draymond. He's got to be more offensive. The basketball is forced out of him. Now, I'd much rather see everyone healthy. But to see Steph Curry and to see, because Klay's not there, because KD's not there, oh, let's see Steph Curry, what he could do. And that's what he could do.
Hero ball is fun. And that is something we have missed in this league over the last decade or so, is that because we are in the era of the super team, this isn't necessarily winning. It's tough winning basketball. It's tough to win championships this way. It's tough to win 4 consecutive series where one guy has to do what Steph did last night. Hell, Steph had, I believe, the finest playoff game of his career, and they were never within 2 possessions the entire second half. But man, that was fun to watch. He was going into the game, I said, for the Warriors to have any chance, Steph and Draymond got to combine for 60, 15, and 10. Well, they combined for 64, 15, and 11, and they still couldn't win because Steph went 47, 8, and 7. He was so good. And I couldn't help, and this is something I get criticized for as well, don't care. I can't be the only person that was watching this and felt, man, Steph Curry had to, after the game, think to himself for a moment, oh, so that's what LeBron James's life has been like against us. Doesn't matter. Lead every team in points, rebounds, assists. Be the best player on the court by a country mile. Can't do it. I looked it up this morning. 6 times against the Warriors in the finals, LeBron has combined for at least 55 points, rebounds, assists, and gone home with the loss.
Wow.
It happened in Game 1 of the 2015 finals and Game 5 and Game 6. The game that KD hit that big shot over LeBron that we were sitting at happened then. Then it happened in the closeout game of that series in Game 5, and obviously the first game of last year's finals. This is what happens to guys that are standalone great players on undermanned teams. You see if you can pull this out of them. And for Steph, obviously, they wanted to win last night. They maybe needed to win last night, depending on the long-term health of Clay and KD. But once you get some perspective, this was, to me, a vindicating moment for a player that probably shouldn't need vindication because it answered those questions. How much of Steph is the system? How much of the system is Steph? When I said a month ago, listen, I think Steph's the most important and best guy on the Warriors, but if you're an anonymous team, the Knicks, obviously you'd rather have Kevin Durant because he can go into any system.
Right.
Steph last night showed you, man, I can be pretty damn good in any system as well, and he did it in 44 minutes and up to and including the last minute. Who's the guy diving on the court for a loose ball to try to force a jump ball? Steph Curry. He was inspiring last night with how good he was.
Is it the kind of game where if the Warriors go on to win, you could say, and he gets the MVP, well, that was the reason why, because of what he was able to do?
Well, to me, and he's been special in a few games in the finals in this run, but last night, to me, man, it was about heart. It was about against all odds. Like, he didn't have to put that type of effort into the game. He could have been like, you know something? Hey, give me my normal amount of rest, all right? I'm going to take good shots so I don't look bad, because when you go out like he did, there's also the opportunity that you could be like after the game, well, Steph Curry blew it.
Right.
Well, Steph Curry blew the game.
You can have a 9 for 29.
I mean, to me, it was about, I already have a great deal of respect. It just ensured me that my respect is in the right place. He plays the game the right way. Man, and last night, I loved watching his warm-up. He did not change his warm-up from any other game. I mean, he was on a mission. He was on a mission to send a message that I can win this game by myself, and man, did he try. And like you said, Nick, it was exciting to watch.
It was, yesterday was the 26 years ago to the day yesterday, Charles Barkley broke through to lead the Phoenix Suns to the NBA Finals in an epic Game 7 performance. 44 points, 24 rebounds. It reminded you of that. It reminded me of a game that I referenced on the show yesterday, the final game Jordan ever played with the Bulls, where he scored 45 points, it took 35 shots, doesn't matter. It was, the team scored 87. Scotty was out of gas. Rodman was out of gas. The team was on its last legs. You know why? It's third straight finals, going for a third straight championship. And Jordan willed them to that win. Obviously, Steph didn't will him to the win like Chuck and MJ did, but it was a singular performance that Steph, we haven't had to pull that out of Steph because Steph had never played in a playoff game without Klay Thompson, had never been in this circumstance. Last few years, he's been playing alongside Klay and Kevin Durant. To me, it was the best of Steph Curry.
And he was doing it at every level. Dribbled the ball up the court to get himself free, played on the baseline, got shots in the lane, got to the free throw line, was still very good. Absolutely. Every level of his game that you can see. Didn't turn the ball over, taking a whole bunch of chances. But, man, Steph Curry was special in the game, and that wasn't enough with them being short.
And it's one of the reasons why in team sports, it's always hard for me to be results oriented on did your team win, did your team lose, how far did you get, because we see the context of it. We see the context of, we have seen Steph come away with championships throughout an NBA Finals. He doesn't have a game anything close to this, and it wasn't because he was better. It's because it is a team sport, because the guys around you are important. Steph was the best guy on the court last night. The reason he lost is the next 5 best guys all played for the other team. That's a situation he's never been in his career, but he rose to the occasion.
Yeah, the only thing Steph was missing was a little help. So coming up, we'll ask, should the Warriors rush KD back after losing Game 3? That's next on First Things First.